But what I do know, what I did see over the 10-year span, that has been the most winningest duo since they came together. To the point where the league has been trying to break them out with speculations and rumors, and you played a part in it also. What is going on, y'all? Yep, it's been a minute. I've been on a hiatus, guys. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Well, first off, welcome back to Please Excuse My Balls, brought to you by Dear Legacy Sports. It's your boy Kevin B. the Brand, and this is episode 25, Pivotal 25. And I know it's been a long time coming. If y'all follow me on social media, y'all know I dropped a couple of videos of the sort. I'm still in disbelief, even though I said that they were the best team in the East going into the season. Just knowing that the Knicks won a championship and having to deal with that turmoil, having to deal with us Celtics getting knocked out 3-1. I ain't gonna lie to y'all guys. It was hard. It was hard to come back on here. And I was like, I'm gonna take a little bit and then really like decompress before I come back on here so I don't sound like a disgruntled fan. And just like that, I got punched in the fucking gut right off the rip. Not only do I watch the Knicks win a championship, my Celtics blow a 3-1 lead to Philadelphia. I get excited because we do a trade for Mitchell Robinson. We're bringing in Conley. And the Giannis thing didn't work out with Jaylen Brown. And I'm like, oh man, we got a squad right now. Wrong answer. Jaylen Brown gets traded. I had to go through my 5 stages of grief, guys. And I'm probably still not through all of the 5 stages, but it's been too long. I had to come back on here and talk with you guys. A lot's been going on. You got World Cup going on. Serena came back to play tennis and singles. The excitement and disappointment of the Celtics. The Knicks win a championship after 53 years, and the whole NBA gets tilted off its axis. Like, people are leaving teams, free agents are signing other places. You're talking about trades that are happening. You're watching it happen, and you're wondering, like the Giannis one, we kind of knew was coming. But it's like the other stuff that's happening in the background, and it's like people don't know how to act right now because, like, when you haven't had a repeat champion in so long, 8 years now, and you're now having the issue of like trying to figure out what formula works now because the New York Knicks threw it off its axis, right? But we'll talk more about all that stuff. But for now, let's jump right into the show, and I'm gonna jump off with some controversy right here. Y'all probably gonna hate me for this one, but it's okay. Just know this doesn't come from ill intent. But Caitlin Clark has had an issue since entering the league. And whether you like her, don't like her, she's good for basketball. Her and Angel Reese, I've said before, have been the catalyst that's changing the WNBA. You always need that pivotal point. And I was like, guys, we need to handle this right, because if it's handled right, you have your Magic and Bird. It's a rivalry that you could sell and put butts in seats. That brings more media coverage, more attention to the league, and then the league keeps growing, and everybody benefits. But my whole issue from the very beginning, although I like her as a player, I'm more of an Angel Reese person. She has flaws in her game as well. It is what it is. But I'm a fan of Angel Reese. I'm a fan of a lot of these people. We all know who's my biggest fan is Asia Wilson, but I'm a fan of Angel Reese. But there was an issue that happened on the court with Caitlin Clark, where, do they roughhouse Caitlin Clark? Yes. Is it blatant at times? Yes. I'm not gonna sit here and try to say no, everything's clean, no, they don't treat her bad. No, there's uh an absolute bias towards Caitlin Clark coming into the league. Um, and for me, I feel as though the reason why there is such animosity towards Caitlin Clark, it's because of the simple fact that what you could be a fan of somebody and not have to put down another person. And I think a lot of other people, when you was on the side, whether you fell on the side of Caitlin Clark or the side of Angel Reese, we had to go into protection mode for Angel Reese because of the double standards of everything, right? Go back and look at the history. I'm not gonna replay all that other shit. Like they're in the WNBA now, but I'm just giving the backdrop of why there's some animosity to her. She was pretty much talked about and put on a pedestal like the golden child. She's talented. I get it. But at the same time, correct me if I'm wrong, Caitlin Clark did not win a national championship coming out of college. She's a great, spectacular player. But at the same time, the way some people that are Caitlin Clark fans would try to shove her down our throats, and she could do no wrong and she's so perfect, and then they try to tear down Angel Reese in the process, who, by the way, has only won. I mean, she's won her national championship. She's a competitor through and through. She does what she needs to do. You might not like some of the stuff that she does. I don't like some of the shit that Caitlin Clark does. But I'm not gonna tear down somebody because I'm more of an Angel Reese fan. I'm more of a WNBA fan than anything else. And the WNBA had a golden opportunity. But the way that the and I hate to say this, the media, and it's not the media, it's select folks in the media, was portraying Caitlin Clark versus the Angel Reese, rub people the wrong way, And do I agree with the way some of these players have been handling Caitlin Clark since coming into the WNBA? Absolutely not. You guys, you all in the WNBA need to realize there's meal tickets in the WNBA, and that storyline between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is one of your biggest tickets. Then Asia Wilson is another big ticket, and you're trying to grow your league, coming in with two expansion teams and all that stuff. Like there's excitement in the air, but the people on the side of Caitlin Clark, it's something different. And the race stuff starts to play a part in it. So then you're trying to race divides and all that. End of the day, let's just keep it basketball. But what I wanted to talk about is how now we have lawmakers getting involved in a situation that happened on an NBA court. Lawmakers in Washington, as much shit as we got going on in our country right now, y'all are fucking writing letters to the WNBA about an investigation, to write in what's the commissioner's name? I don't want to mess up her name. So the commissioner of the WNBA, write her a letter about the investigation into Caitlin Clark being, they like to call, assaulted on the court. When me personally, I think the player, and I forget the player's name, that fell on Caitlin Clark, her hand does go towards her throat area. Does it look funny? Yes, it looks funny. It looks like she tried to tune her up a little bit. Was there malicious intent, like there's her throat, let me punch her in it? I don't think so. I think she was trying to tune her up, for sure, and made it look. And she was on the way falling down, and she saw who was on the bottom of her, and she tried to take an extra jab. Just so happened to fall in her throat area. Do I condone it? Absolutely not. Keep it basketball. You know what I mean? But the lawmakers now getting involved in WNBA business because it's Caitlin Clark. How many other people in the league get tuned up all the time? People are getting tuned up all the time when the WNBA still play old school basketball. You know? So lawmakers, you got other shit to do. Stay out the W. Let them do what they're doing over there. Do I agree with everything that the W's been doing? No, I think they mishandled this thing with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese coming into the league. And not putting a kibosh on it early on when coaches were coming out and speaking, because it only adds problem. Because when a coach like with I don't want to say the wrong name. When the coach from Washington at the time, who was then the women's national basketball team coach, comes out and says disparaging remarks towards Caitlin Clark, all you're gonna do is fuel the Caitlin Clark stands to come and attack Angel Reese, who has nothing to do with the situation. You know what I mean? And I believe the women's national team got it wrong back then as well. They should have had Caitlin Clark on that team. They should have had Angel Reese on that team, and they should have put Juju Watson on that team. Put those three on there. That is the future of your league. Why would you? Oh, they didn't earn anything yet. Okay. When LeBron was coming in, when Jordan was coming in, when all these other people, they get embraced. They embrace these young players. That's the difference with the NBA and the WNBA. They're embracing the young stars because it doesn't diminish their life. You think Asia Wilson is not gonna be Asia Wilson if she plays on an Olympic team with Caitlin Clark? What are we talking about right now? That's all the air I'm giving on that one. But I'm going to stick in the WNBA because their festivities for All-Star Weekend kicks off on July 24th, and the starters and reserves was released. Um I don't, some people is gonna always say that there's some snubs that happen, and why wasn't this person there and that person there? There was rankings and all that. I don't care about this. So here's the All-Star players. You have Aaliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever, Paige Beckers for the Dallas Wings, Sonia Citron from the Washington Mystics, Caitlin Clark of the Indiana Fever, Alasia Gray of the Atlanta Dream, Natasha Howard of the Minnesota Lynx. Ooh. Rain Howard of the Atlanta Dream, Kiki of the Washington Mystics. I'm not gonna jumble up your name, young lady. So I'm gonna pass on that one. Jaquel Jones of the New York Liberty, Marina Marbury of the Toronto Tempo. Congratulations to you, upstart team, and you out there. Dominique Malonaga from the Seattle Storm, Olivia Miles, congratulations, from the Minnesota Lynx. Kelsey Mitchell of the Indiana Fever, Kelsey Plum of the Los Angeles Sparks, Angel Reese of the Atlanta Dream, Jessica Shepard of the Dallas Wings, Breanna Stewart of the New York Liberty, Gabby Williams of the Golden State Valkyries, and Courtney Williams of the Minnesota Lynx, Asia Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces, and Jackie Young of the Las Vegas Aces. And those are your 22 players, starters and reserves for your WNBA All-Star Weekend in Chicago, kicking off July 24th. Congratulations to all those players that got announced to All-Star appearance, especially those that are on their rookie years. Congratulations to those young ladies. Yeah, that's what I have for the WNBA. Switching gears over to Live Golf, in another controversy for Live Golf. Live Golf is getting sued, guys. Getting sued by some English companies over the concept of allegedly they're saying that Live Golf stole their concept and intellectual idea for what they then created to becoming Live Golf. And they're suing for the tunes of $210 to $630 million. We'll have to keep an eye on that one, guys. We already know that the Saudi backers have decided that they're moving on from Live Golf due to there's the loss of revenue that they're gaining from Live Golf, and Live Golf CEOs are now trying to find new investors to bring on for Live Golf, but this is not going to help the situation. I don't know what investor is going to want to come in knowing that there's a lawsuit pending. So we'll see what happens with Live Golf. Lots happening in the world of golf, but we'll touch base on that a little bit later, because right now I got to get into the World Cup, guys. World Cup has given us some amazing matches. It's given us some heartbreak, especially on my end, watching Haiti not even make it to the knockout stage, but it is what it is. And when you do get to the knockout stage, you're watching big names go down, right? Brazil goes down, and all three host countries go down in the round of 16, guys. And it happened simultaneously too, right? It was like Canada knocked out. They lose to Morocco 3-0. France moved on 1-0 over Paraguay. Norway knocks out Brazil 2-1. England goes into Mexico City and beats Mexico 3-2. Um, by far one of the best wins in foreign territory in England's history. Spain knocked out Portugal, and then Cristiano Ronaldo's run for a bid to win the World Cup. And then right after that, Belgium just came out and beat up on the U.S. team. The U.S. picked the wrong time to have their worst game since World Cup started. Um, I'm still even though it sucks to see the U.S. team get knocked out, shit, all three host nations get knocked out, but it's U.S. for me. Um, you're talking about a program that's growing. I feel as though they have the stars. You listen to everybody else on social media. You listen to people over in that's covering the World Cup, and they're talking about the problems of the U.S. is they need to develop their youth programs. And yes, I do agree with a lot of the stuff. I think we need to develop our youth programs, not just in soccer, in basketball and all that other stuff. I think some of our programs need more development and structure. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't know the fixes of everything, especially of soccer, because let's not call us. I'm gonna call it spade a spade. I like players, but I don't follow soccer enough to sit there and intellectually talk about development of youth programs. What I do know is this Team USA, they galvanized the country and made us believe, and I think the future is bright for the U.S. men's national team. That loss, comes with controversy where you're talking about, our best striker was given a red card, should have been taken out of the game. Then they rescinded the red card, and I think it put a chip on Belgium's shoulder. And Belgium came out and said they were going to out physical the U.S. team. The way that they set their lineup perfectly to where the point where it's like, if you're gonna keep it close, we're gonna have this lineup that's gonna come out and put the pressure on you. Um, and a costly mistake by our goalie. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I think enough people has teared down the goalie enough. I don't need to add to it. One, because I'm not an expert at the thing. I'm more of a fan than anything else. I come around every 4 years and at major soccer events. So, um, yeah, Argentina moves on 3-2 over Egypt, and Switzerland beats Colombia in penalty kicks after ending regular time at 0-0. I do want to touch this though before I move on. Um, I've been watching a lot on social media, and social media have a lot of people that will sit there and break down things for you, whether you believe in them or not, conscious conspiracy theories and all that good jazz. But when you sit and you watch certain things happening, and then there's actual facts to back it up, I tend to sway like, are they really trying to prop up Messi and this Argentina team in this World Cup? Because for me, some of these things that are not being called, they're like blatant as day, and the referee's standing right there. You know, I talk about referees in NFL and NBA because I know those things, right? But I know as a fair weather, big tournament fan that I am, I know that's a foul. Why are we not calling the fouls? And they're like allowing the Argentine team to do some things where it's like, I could see how some will believe some of this conspiracy theories, because every match that Argentina's been on, it's always had some controversial behind it. You're talking about, this thing started with what, 64 teams? And yes, out of 6-4 teams, once in a while you're gonna get some controversy here, you're gonna get some controversy there, but every time Argentina plays, there's some type of controversy. And then when you go back and you look at it and you're like, that's a foul, that's a foul, where's the yellow card? And the referees are telling them to play on and they're removing goals and taking extra long time and the VARs and all that. And I'm like, it ain't right. It ain't right. You're trying to prop up somebody at the expense of hard work of a lot of other people. You're talking about this. This is not something that they could come back next year. This is every 4 years that they get a shot at this thing. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna just keep moving on. We all see with our eyes what's happening. Nobody's gonna want to do anything. Thank God that Kylian Mbappe is still in it because that France team is so talented. I don't see how, if it's a France Argentina matchup in this finals, which is what a lot of people are calling for, I don't see how. Would it be the finals or would it be semifinals? I don't know when they would match up, but they would match up at some point. And Argentina, you could play those little fuckery games if you want to. I think France will be waiting for it. I think if you match up with Norway, they'll be waiting for it. I think England's another scary team on the background. Spain was once one of the favorites, but you know they've had a couple shaky games. And the way Belgium played against the U.S., if they carry that same momentum into that Spain matchup, I could see Spain being upset by Belgium. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We're down to the quarterfinals. And this is who we got. France versus Morocco will be July 9th at 4 p.m. at Foxborough, down the street from me. I should have go to that game. Nah, too much happening. I'm about to head to New York to for Jay-Z, so no, I'm not spending that type of money. I'll watch it on TV. Um, Spain versus Belgium will play on Friday, July 10th. That's at the SoFi Stadium. Norway versus England, Saturday, July 11th at 5 p.m. That's in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And Argentina versus Switzerland will play on the 11th also at 9 p.m. at Kansas City Arrowhead. Who we got for the Golden Boot contenders as right now? You have Harry Kane, from Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, and Dembele. I ain't gonna butcher your first name, good sir. But those are who we have going on with the Golden Boots right now, and I think Lionel Messi is up by one, followed by Kylian Mbappe, and then Harry Kane is third. I want to say, but double check that. It's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of this World Cup matches up. Right now, I'm Team France. You know, let's see what France could do. Honestly, I'm team anybody but Argentina. You know, and I've said it before in the previous. Haiti never had a national team, so we always were divided as Haitians, whether it would be Brazil or Argentina. Some go Argentina, some go Brazil. My best friend is Team Argentina. I'm Team Brazil. Now I don't got Brazil in there, so it's France all the way for me. So let's go Mbappe. Let's get this thing done. Moving on to Beyond the Lines. Beyond the Lines, I told you guys earlier that the PGA is somewhat changing. The new CEO is coming in and is doing his spin on shit, and he's ready to change things up and overhauling the way the league is gonna be played. They're saying as early as 2028. But what they're thinking about doing is making the biggest change in history starting in 2028. It will adopt a two-tier system with a championship series for the top players and a challenger series for everyone else. Using a promotion and regulation format similar to the European soccer, players will have to earn and keep their spot in the top tier every season, making every tournament more meaningful and competitive. The goal is to create more excitement for fans while rewarding consistent performance rather than just the big names. Guys, I'm not going to hold you. If they do this right, this is going to change the landscape of golf. And I love it. Because here's why I love it. I love the fact that they're doing two leagues, right? Because I like the upcoming players, but some Sundays they don't stand a chance because you got the Shefties, you got the Colin Cowers, you got the big name guys, right? But at the same time, I feel as though a lot of these big name guys, they coast through the season, right? And it's not like they're doing it on purpose. It's just, yeah, you're a big name, but you're just in the field because you earn more money or you have an exemption card and all that shit. But now, if you change this, you have to earn it and keep it. So yeah, you could be a big name, but if you're always, I'm sorry, no disrespect, Ricky Fowler has not been a real contender, but yet he gets to play in all the major matches. Why? Because at one point for a couple of seasons he had a good little run. I don't even think Ricky Fowler even has any majors. So why does he get to keep a spot? And you have up and rising people that, because they didn't make the big money and they're not top 10 and they're top 10 in a money list and they have to keep doing these things. They didn't win the right tournaments to get the exemptions and all that other shit. Now, if they're doing great on the Challenger Series, and I don't know how they plan on doing this, but I have a couple notes on it. So before I go down that rabbit hole, okay, let me tell you what's going to change. Okay, so the two-tier system is going to go like this. The championship series is a top-tier series. The best players in the world will compete in roughly 23 to 24 elite events. Fields will expand to about 120 players. Every event will have a 36-hole cut, bringing back a more competitive pressure. Purses will be at least $20 million. No more sponsor exemptions into these events. That's the best part. No more exemptions. You either had to earn your way in or go down to the Challenger Series. Challenger Series. At least 20 tournaments with purses of about $4 million gives younger players and those who lost status a chance to earn their way back. The top 20 players of each season are promoted to the championship series. Players who win twice during the season can earn an immediate promotion. So that means win twice in this league, immediate promotion, you're going to the championship series. And I'm assuming at the championship series level, if you're on the bottom and somebody got to get promoted, goodbye, God bless. And at the end of each season, the top 20 players of the Challenger Series is moving up. So that means 20 players from the championship series, goodbye. Go earn your shit. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Please do this for us because it's going to make it way more. And then the 36-hole cut is also amazing because now we're talking about on day 3, you got to figure this thing out, right? Is my math right? 18, yeah, 36-hole cut. But guys, I'm just so excited for this because I think this is the thing that people needed to make because and they talked about this also when the new CEO, I forget his name, when was talking about this. The problem that the PGA has had, they held on to nostalgia for too long. You could be the greatest league, you could be the top league, but you don't have to hold on to this whole nostalgic way of doing things, right? You could still be sitting there reinventing yourself and not allowing a space for Live Golf to come and steal some of your best talent. Now we know every week the top players, because they earn their shit, will go play. And in the Challenger Series, that means, do you know how it's going to be when there's no more exemptions for people to get into a field? You have to go out and earn it to be the top 120 players. Boy, let me tell you something. I can't wait. I can't wait for this. Other notable changes: the current FedEx Fall will be replaced by a last chance series, giving players one final opportunity to earn top tier status. The Tour Championship is expected to move away from its current format and eventually rotate among prestigious golf courses with match play component planned. The Championship and Challenger Series will mostly run simultaneously throughout the season. That's the part I kind of don't like. Running simultaneously, I'm going to go and watch the big names. But somebody like me, when a couple of those big names drop, I might go see how they're competing. Are they staying at the top? So now it gives me 2 boards where I'm trying to watch and see, damn, this person's on a rise. Who are they going to knock out? damn, this person's on the bottom. They might not be the championship series next year. They're gonna have to go play in the Challenger series and come back and earn it. I love it. I freaking love it. You're not gonna get me unless they come out and start tweaking it and making it even weirder than what they're proposing. Then it's gonna be good because the tour is saying that they're making every tournament matter more. Because some of the tournaments, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, even if there's a couple big names in the field, I'm not gonna watch. It's boring. Whatever. Make every tournament matter. Reward performance instead of reputation. I love that part. That is key. Performance rather than reputation. The Justins and of the world, like, you haven't done anything in a while, but yet you get to play in the biggest tournaments, and some guy that's like battling can't get in because he didn't get an exemption. You're gonna get the exemption before he does. He has to go through all these ways just to get into it. Where now, I just gotta go be the best 20 in a Challenger Series or win twice and I'm getting promoted up. I love this. The changes were developed by a future competition committee led by Tiger Woods himself and also received support from Rory McIlroy. The two biggest names in the game are helping. These are the two guys that went out and created TGL, and that's been successful. And they're part of now. And as much as they love the PGA, Rory and Tiger would not take the money to go to Live Golf. They all about the historic of the PGA, but also understood that the PGA also needed to evolve to get to something better. So, and this is what it is. They listening to the people, and they saw. It sucks that it took Live Golf to shake them up and actually want to do something different, but I don't care. I don't care. We all knew Live Golf was probably not gonna last. And we're starting to see that it's not going to last. And now we're all coming back to the PGA Tour and the European Tour. And let's go. Let's have some fun. PGA Tour updates. Let's see what we got 2 weeks ago at the Travelers Championship. Victor Hovland captured the title, taking home about $3.6 million from a $20 million purse, beating Scotty Scheffler in a playoff match. First time those two matched up in since their last one where Scotty was victorious, and this time Victor came out victorious. Last week we had the John Deere Classic where Chris Gotterup stormed back and win a final round of 62 to win, earning him $1.5 million. And this week, the PGA Tour heads overseas for the Genesis Scottish Open in North Berwick, Scotland, while another field tees off in the ISCO Championship in Kentucky as players make their final preparations for next week's Open Championship. On the LPGA side, let's see what we got. 2 weeks ago, Haren Ryu won the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, one of the LPGA's major championships, with a record-breaking $13 million purse. Shout out to the women's side. A winner's check of approximately $2 million. The LPGA had last week off before another major championship. This week, the women head to France for the Amdi Evian Championship. The fourth major of the season, featuring a $9.1 million purse. World number one Nelly Korda will be looking to complete the career Grand Slam. Shout out to Nelly. Hopefully she gets it done this week. In the world of tennis, you guys know I was excited. My girl Serena Williams came back, the GOAT of GOATs on my list, number one GOAT across all sports. Go debate your mama. I don't care. Serena Williams, she did come back. At the tender age of 44, 4 years away from her last singles. Unfortunately, it didn't work out the way that we wanted it to work out. Her comeback ended in the first round after she suffered a right knee injury and later withdrew from doubles with her sister Venus in Wimbledon. Good news is Serena says she's not done. I'm excited for that. Guess who got to go get tickets for the U.S. Open? This guy, because she said as long as her knee is up and willing to do it, she will be competing in the U.S. Open. Speaking down of Wimbledon, we are now down to the final four on both the men's and women's side, and we're guaranteed some incredible tennis at this point, guys. Yannick Sinner is still alive and continues to look like the tournament favorite, but Novak Djokovic survived the epic 5-set battle and is chasing yet another Wimbledon title. If there's anybody that's going to upset Yannick, it will be Djokovic. Alexander Zverev advanced after defeating the final American in the tournament, Taylor Fritz. One of the biggest surprises of the tournament is British wildcard Arthur Ferry, who has made a dream come true type run into the semifinals. Let's see if he could keep this one going. Experts are still calling either Sinner to win it all, but Djokovic is right behind him, ready to take on Wimbledon. My opinion, it's hard to count out Djokovic, but I think Sinner is locked in, laser focused. Barring any injury, I think Sinner should win this whole thing. But shout out to that young man, Arthur Ferry, man, who grew up maybe a couple blocks down from Wimbledon, and he's what a story that would be if he ends up in the final, man. Even if he wins it all, I don't see that, but he could end up in the final. We'll see what happens on the women's side, guys. The second coming of Serena is still in the matchup. Coco Gauff is in. She'll face off with Carolina Muchova and Linda Noskova versus Marta. Gosh, I need to start putting phonetic spellings over here. Kostic? We're gonna go with that. On the women's side, Coco Gauff has been named the favorite to lift the trophy. She owns a 6-1 career record against Machova, so we'll see how that goes. She is also the highest seeded person remaining in the tournament. I'm excited to see what Coco could do. When I start seeing notes like she's favored to win and the matchups and she has this career record against somebody, when I start seeing stuff like that, it kind of makes me a little leery, because that's when that person that's on the other side, or when their career is 1-6 versus you, that's the ones you got to watch out for. So we'll see what happens for the rest of this Wimbledon tournament. Just so you guys have the times, July 9th, it will be the women's semifinals. 8:30 a.m. will be Coco Gauff versus Carolina, followed by Linda versus Marta at 10:30, 11ish, depending on how long the match of Coco and Carolina goes. On Friday, July 10th is the men's semifinals at 8:30 a.m. You have Alexander versus Arthur, and then followed by Sinner and Djokovic. That's approximately again at 11. And then the championship, it will be happening on Saturday the 11th for the women at 11, and then men's will be Sunday the 12th. On that note, let's talk basketball. All right, so I said already in the opening, the New York Knicks won the NBA championship and the whole NBA went crazy. It's like it tilted off their axis, and you usually get trades and all that good shit. And like I said, the Giannis shit, we already knew was gonna happen. It's just a matter of where he was gonna end up. I thought he was gonna be in Boston, but people had different plans. But let's run through some of these trades, how we feeling, what that does for that team that lost, the team that won, and then we'll go into a couple free agency joints, talk WNBA, and wrap it on up. You dig? So we start off June 22nd, the first trade that kicks off the thing between the Timberwolves, Nets, and the Bulls. The Nets get Julius Randle and the 28th pick. Bulls get Nick Claxton. Timberwolves get Mo Guy and number 33 pick. Honestly, this only thing that changed for me was like, oh damn, they're moving on from Julius Randle from Minnesota. What are they looking to go do? Later on in life, we find out what they wanted to do, whatever the case may be. But they moved off of Julius Randle, and I don't know what this does for the Nets. I think Julius Randle is a very productive player, but for some reason he can't find his home yet. Maybe it'll be in Brooklyn. Nick Claxton to the Bulls. I don't know what that does for them. Maybe it makes them a little bit better. You got a big man in the center that's versatile, that can score as well. Timberwolves, I think it was a throwaway. They just wanted to get Julius Randle out the door. Later on that day, that overshadows this deal is the Giannis blockbuster deal. You know, something that's been that was in the talks and the works and all that stuff. Everybody, he's coming to Boston. The last two teams was between Boston and Miami, and thought that Boston was gonna lock that one up. You know, I made my peace with losing Jaylen Brown. If we're gonna lose Jaylen Brown, then Giannis is the player that you would want to lose a Jaylen Brown for, right? You're losing a superstar player for a generational talent. Even with Giannis not being available the past few years and a few these past few playoff runs, you look at, he doesn't do what Jason Tatum does. We get rim protection and we get a big that's going to be playing on the block, which is great for Jason Tatum, the way he wants to play, playmaking, shooting. And I think usage rate, we're talking about the same. I think Giannis is going to demand the ball just as much as Jaylen Brown wanted to demand the ball, but we're talking about somebody in the middle. Cool, whatever the case may be. Boston decided for whatever reason they didn't want to add players to the deal. They felt as though Jaylen for Giannis plus picks was fair trade. I ain't gonna hold y'all guys. When you look at the grand scheme of things, but then you hear later on it was about contract stuff. Boston did not want to go 35% for a third year, where they was only offering 30%. Was it third year or fourth year, and 30% for 3 years, where Boston was at. Honestly, when it didn't happen, I was like, cool, we still get Jaylen Brown. Little did we know. But let's talk about the trade that did happen. The Miami Heat get Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis. The Bucks get damn near all of Miami. They get Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jamie Hawkins Jr., Kostas Giannis, number 13th pick, 2031 first, 2033 first, 2030 pick swap, 2033 second. Miami said we was going big game hunting, and we've been losing these past few years. So no matter what, we was going to get this deal done. Giannis to Miami to pair up against Bam Adebayo, and you got Bobby Portis. I don't know if Bobby Portis is going to go into the starting lineup now. So you're talking about, that's a large front court that could score at will, inside, outside. I kind of like it. But who's the guards? Because later on we'll find out Norman Powell does not re-sign with them. You get rid of Tyler Hero, who is orchestrating this whole thing. I'm waiting to see what Miami does after to complete this roster, because they literally got rid of all their young players, their depth, and their starting point guard, and a bunch of picks over the next few years. That they're gonna need to rely on. I mean, Giannis has been showing you not decline on who he is, just his body is starting to like be on the decline. So, the Bucks, they grab a haul for Giannis, and I could see why they would want to take it. But apparently, Giannis was holding out for the Boston deal, but the contract stuff didn't work out, and that's when he greenlit the Miami one. So, sure. Few days later, we found out what the Timberwolves was up to. LaMelo Ball gets traded to the Timberwolves with Josh Green. Hornets would receive Naz Reid, the 2033 unprotected first, 3 first-round swaps, 3 second-round picks. That's a haul for LaMelo Ball. I want you guys to realize what I'm saying here. Even swap with the Timberwolves, Giannis got 5 players, 3 picks, a swap in a second, so 5 picks. 5 players, 5 picks. Right? 4 players, 5 picks. LaMelo Ball got 1 player, 7, essentially 7 picks. Even though it's pick swaps, so whoever gets the worst, they swap and get the best, and 3 second rounds. So you got 4 picks plus Naz Reid for that one. Then you get so on this one, I don't know what was going on with the Hornets. I think they were the up and coming team, but then maybe they felt as though this is their time to strike with the iron's heart, while LaMelo Ball was at the peak of last year's the run that they made last year. So they decided to cash in on that, right? And the Timberwolves, the move here is Ant's been needing another scorer beside him. DiVincenzo, he went down with the injury. We don't know when he'll be back next year. But Ant-Man, we could see in the playoffs, they were able to throw two at him because they didn't feel as though there was another threat out there. If LaMelo Ball could have a similar type run, because he's not the most healthiest either. If he could have the same similar run that he just had in the Hornets this past season, this is going to be major for Ant-Man out in Minnesota, and see if they can finally make a run in this Western Conference Finals. I like this. I like this move. The Nas Reed of it all. I mean, you had to give up something. Nas Reed is a fan favorite. He's that guy off the bench. He's that adult in the room. I guess now the adult got to go down to Rudy Gobert, right? So we'll see how that tangles out. But I do like this move. What else we got going on? Hornets and the Suns make a trade. Miles Bridges. The Suns get Miles Bridges, 2029 first, 2027 second. The Hornets get Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and a 2033 first. This move does nothing for me. Again, I don't know what the Hornets is doing. It seems like they're trying to move money and getting expiring contracts or veteran players, but you just had a run. You have some young talent there. I would be trying to go in free agency and bringing in some veteran presence to be in there, but you lose LaMelo Ball, you move Miles Bridges. I guess with Nas Reed coming in, I don't know. I don't see the Hornets, but we'll see how it all plays out. That's a trade that they decided to do. The Grizzlies finally moved Ja Morant. We all know that they was trying to move Ja Morant for the longest of time. They just happened to not get the trade partners that they wanted to get for him. You know, the Grizzlies had told us essentially that they was in a rebuild mode the moment they started moving key players like Desmond Bane to Orlando, and then they moved Triple J to Utah. We knew at some point Ja Morant was going to move. It's just a matter of who was going to give them something for him. They decided to finally settle on sending him out to the Blazers, and the Grizzlies then get Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. New change of scenery for Ja Morant. Maybe it'll help him getting out of Memphis, out to Portland. There's not, no disrespect to the city, but there's not Memphis. There's not a lot going on out there. Maybe he'll focus on the basketball thing and let his star power shine, and he could revive his career back out there. You got the Drew Holidays of the world out there that could nurture, grow, and help develop Ja to being the star that we believe that he could be. I said Ja Morant in his draft class was going to be the best one out of that draft class. I liked what's his name that was drafted by the Knicks, but now he plays in Toronto. Oh my goodness. I had liked him second. I was not a fan of old boy that's in New Orleans that can't stay healthy at all. But yeah, they still paying him. Anyways, moving on. Then we see Kawhi Leonard going back to Toronto. The Raptors again, Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers will get Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a pick swap. That's a haul for Kawhi Leonard. Toronto's looking at it like, listen, we was number 4 or 5 in the East. I think the East, they feel as though they're a Kawhi Leonard away from actually making some type of significant run with that young, talented nucleus that they have. I think they coach very well. But word just came down. This trade is on hold until the NBA and league officials close out the Kawhi Leonard investigation that they had about the whole joint with the Clippers, were they circumventing the salary cap by making an ambassador for some yada yada. Go back and look into that story. So as of right now, this trade is on hold, which kind of sucks because if I'm Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, it's like, Bro, I'm trying to move on with my life. These people traded me. Last year the Lakers ran into a situation like this where a deal got null and void when they traded Kennard or Kennett, whatever his name is, Luke Kennett, and the trade got voided. And he had to come back and play the season with the Lakers. So yeah, so you guys hear these trades, these hauls that some of these teams are getting. The Giannis trade, 4 players, 5 picks. LaMelo Ball, 1 player, 4 picks, essentially, because I'm not counting the pick swaps in the first round. They're valuable, but I'm not counting them. Kawhi Leonard got 2 players, a star in Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, or a great rotational role player, and 2 firsts, 2 second, and a pick swap. So 4 picks, 2 players for Kawhi Leonard at his age. Then it finally comes down. Breaking news. This is why I haven't been with you guys for an additional week and a half. Jaylen Brown gets traded. Comes across my phone. It's the same day that we signed Mitchell Robinson and Conley, and I'm getting ready to come sit down and do my recording for you guys. And boom, breaking news across my phone. I thought it was fake. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. It said Jaylen Brown traded to Philadelphia. Had to be fake, right? You're not gonna trade within the conference and within your division. No way you're gonna do that. No way that you're not holding on to Jaylen Brown. And then I see Jaylen Brown gets traded to Philly. I'm like, well, what the fuck did we get? So at this point, I'm almost at the house. I'm like, I'm not going to look at my phone because I don't think this shit's real anyways. So I turn on ESPN, and lo and behold, it's splashed across my screen. And it said Jaylen Brown traded to Philadelphia 76ers. Here's the package, guys. We all know it at this point because y'all been watching the news. Paul George, 2028 first pick swap possibility, 2031 unprotected first, 2028 and a 2030 second round. This is the package that we got for an MVP candidate that finished 6th in MVP balloting, for Finals MVP from 2 years ago, winning a championship, for an all-star, damn near pseudo superstar, 29-year-old Jaylen Brown, who's at the peak of his prime. The package that we got was Paul George, 2028 first with a possibility of a pick swap, 2031 unprotected first, 2028 and a 2030 second round. Kawhi Leonard, who can't stay on the court, got an all-star, a role player, and 4 picks. Miles Bridges, I can't count that one. They got picks back also. LaMelo Ball got a player and 4 picks. Giannis got 5 players, 5 picks. What are we doing right now? What are we doing right now? And I tell you guys, I think I'm through my 5 stages of grief right now with this Jaylen Brown trade, and I'm not gonna go down this path that I've been going down. I'll talk about this a little bit later on in the legacy moment. So yeah, I don't. When I take my fan hat off and I look at the overall landscape of this shit, I don't buy the bullshit that Brad is selling me with optionality. I don't even know what the fuck that means. But you like it, I love it. I'm at the point right now, I need to know I want to see. Brad, I'm giving you benefit of the doubt as much as I possibly can, but your runway is so fucking short at this point, because this, and I was telling my wife this is one of those situations. It's like Bill Belichick. In Bill we trust, because Bill would move team favorites that was producing, that was productive, and all that other stuff, and then you see them go somewhere else, and it was like, there's only like one player that we traded and it was actually still successful after the fact. A lot of these other players, when we traded after them, so at some point we started being on in Bill we trust until the Tom Brady shit happened. Then it was like, Bill, you lost your fucking mind, and then he went out there into Tampa and won a fucking Super Bowl. Brad, this is your first one. So I'm going to say and let it rock. I'm hurt because Jaylen Brown is by far my favorite player on this Boston Celtics. Um, I just love the player that he is. I love that, he's not a Jason Tatum, right? But he has all the attributes. He puts in the hard work. He's going to show up every day. And the person that he is off the court also. I think we were blessed to draft two guys high, third picks in the first round to become who they became now. It's like that's the type of shit you want all the time. That's the type of shit that you want to keep homegrown and you build out. Now, I get the money aspect of it all. Jaylen Brown has 3 years, $153 million, while Paul George has 2 years. And technically, I think it's a player option. He's probably going to opt into it, whatever the case may be. But it's 2 years as opposed to the 3 years. I see the money implication. And you're looking at it like two players. What was Brad saying? Two players in 70% of our cap with 30% of our usage rate doing the same exact thing. Okay, cool. We always knew that. We always knew that. And then you was gonna have to put an extension in front of him and all that. And maybe you don't want to extend him because that's gonna put him in the $70 million range. And then a year or two after that, you're gonna have to put an extension in front of Jason Tatum. I get it. The money's ridiculous. And Brad said something that I've been talking about for the longest of time. This second apron shit is the demise of teams that are doing the right shit. Because you're being penalized. It's Boston. Boston in particular. I'm taking my fan hat off because there's other teams that are built like this. OKC is going to run into this issue also, and we see it. That's why they're starting to ship off some pieces now before they have to go pay them because they're tying up a lot of their money in their 2 to 3 big name players over there, right? It's not fair that the second apron is going to punish teams like OKC, Boston, and those teams that draft their players that become superstars, and now I have to pay them the max. But now when I pay them the max, I'm screwed because now I have to make hard decisions. I believe if there's no second apron, this contract that Jaylen Brown's on, plus the extension and all that stuff, and 70% of your cap being used, and then it's really because I believe there's owners that are out there that are willing to pay taxes. But once you start adding in the second apron shit where every dollar becomes $100 or some shit like that you spend, it's ridiculous. And now the damage is done to us, but the league should really look into this shit. Why are teams being punished for homegrown talent? Those players, I'm a firm believer. If I drafted you and you turn out to be a supermax player, you should not count as deep into my cap as if I traded for you. Now, if I trade for Jaylen Brown, who was a former third round pick, and he becomes an uber superstar, and now I'm trading for him, yes, he should be in my second apron cap. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's got to be a way where we can figure this shit out because there's going to be a problem for years to come. For years to come. Now Boston loses out on by far one of the most winningest duo in this past 10 years since they've been together. And I'll talk more about it later on, but like the second apron, Jaylen Brown is a casualty of the second apron. And then now people trying to justify these trades and the smear campaigns that's going on out there for Jaylen Brown. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not for it. I'm not for it. We're not doing that. We'll talk more about that later. Let's keep going through these deals. The Lakers and the Jazz make a deal. Walker Kessler is going to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Utah Jazz is going to get the 2031, 2033 unprotected first, 2028, 2030 first round swaps. Kessler is expected to sign a 4-year, $130 million deal once he gets to the Lakers. Right when that deal happened, the Lakers then turn around and make a deal with the Wizards to send out DeAndre Ayton to the Wizards, and the Lakers get Jaden Hardy, 2031 second and a 2032 second. The Lakers are reeling right now. Once LeBron said that he is not returning, they had to go figure out that void. First, you have the money now. with LeBron leaving, and now it's really becoming Luka's team, and you gave Austin Reeves his contract. You're saying, okay, here's my one, here's my two, and we're gonna build around that. DeAndre Ayton didn't pan out to be what you expected him to be. I like the trade for Walker Kessler. Now you got your three guys that you're gonna build this franchise around. Time will tell, though. I think that front office, Magic Johnson did a lot of the work, got LeBron there, and what was his name? Palenka. He has been coasting. He hasn't had to do anything crazy. He got gift wrapped to Luka Doncic in the middle of the night. He hasn't had to go out there and go make major splashy moves. I like the Walker Kessler. You get rid of a player that wasn't productive for you. And you flipped them for 2 second-round picks and another player, right? That you could possibly package up and send back out the door. So we'll see how that plays out. And last trade that I want to touch base on is the Pistons and the Bucks make a trade. The Bucks get Karis LeVert, 2 second-round picks, and the Pistons get Taurean Prince and Gary Harris. So looking at the trades that happen, those other trades happen also. Those are the notable ones that I wanted to put out there so we could talk about and see the landscape and how it's starting to shape out. In the Eastern Conference, it's an arms race in the Eastern Conference. You're talking about the New York Knicks. They took a couple of hits to the armor with losing to Mitchell Robinson during free agency. We're going to jump into free agency signings in a little bit. But after these trades are done, I don't see anybody removing the New York Knicks from being the top team in the East. I think Boston is still at the top. No matter how much I didn't like the trade at first, but as constructed, I kind of get it. I'm not going to justify it because I still want a Jaylen Brown on my team, but I get it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Everybody else is just trying to figure out, okay, how we're going to set ourselves up to take out the New York and the Boston teams, right? Because Boston is still, even as constructed without Jaylen Brown, I still think should be a top 4 seed team, lowest 5 maybe, because the difference of last year and this year, and I'd be telling my wife this before we jump into the free agent signings, I think as fans, we got so excited because we knew it was going to be a down year, and then we weren't down. But then we also got to take into account there's 16 teams in the Eastern Conference. There's about 8 of them that was tanking. And I say 8 that was tanking. Maybe it's about 5 that was tanking. 2 of them lost star players. Orlando couldn't stay healthy. Then it was the coach that they wanted to get rid of. This year is going to be different. It's not going to be as easy. And I was in the barbershop yesterday, I was in the barbershop and we was discussing a lot of this shit. And to be honest, when you look at the grand scheme of things of the NBA, the Eastern Conference might be the tougher conference, especially if LeBron does pick an Eastern Conference team. I think that'll be the new juggernaut, because out west, you got your OKC, you got your Spurs. Those are going to be your top 2 teams. Everybody else is just fighting for 3 through 8 at that point. And you get in where you fit in, but I don't see you battle. Whereas the East, it's a balance of power. I think New York Knicks is still at the top right now as constructed. I don't think the loss of Mitchell Robinson is going to help them. The loss of Quentin Grimes and some of these other players that was crucial to their runs. Not Quentin Grimes was with them. I think it was in Philly. Sorry. But they still have their core 5. You got Brunson, you got OG, you got Josh, you got Micah Bridges. I don't know. I don't know why I was messing his boy's name up. And you got Cat. I think as long as you got those core players, I think you have a chance at still making another run. And you know who you are. You have your identity. You have your coach. Your front office is there. You're just going to keep building off of that depth that you had. And I think the depth is what got New York Knicks over the hump. If you look at the past 3 champions, Boston Celtics, OKC, New York Knicks, depth on the bench. You have your guys that are playing their roles, supporting their superstars, and the role players are stepping up at the right crucial time. and then you could go deep down your bench as needed. So yeah, I think as constructed, I don't. We'll have to wait to see how it all lands, and where LeBron lands is really when you'll be able to see a true landscape of some shit. Because if LeBron lands in Philly, then a lot of ball dominant people are at Philadelphia currently as constructed, and you add LeBron James to the mix. But LeBron James is such a high IQ person, and he knows how to work alongside other superstars. I think Jaylen Brown knows how to work along other superstars. That backcourt, VJ, Edgecombe, and Tyrese Maxey. Adding a Jaylen Brown is going to take away from some of their touches. Embiid's going to need his touches. We'll see how it all plays out, but it's hard to not write off the Philadelphia 76ers as constructed right now, and you add a LeBron. It's hard not to think about the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's hard not to think about the Toronto Raptors if the Kawhi Leonard trade goes through. The Eastern Conference is going to be a tough conference. That's why for the Boston Celtics, I'm like, okay, what else are we going to do? I know we have Jason Tatum, who's been all team first pro all NBA. He's been an MVP candidate for the past 4 to 5 seasons. You put a lot of pressure on him now. So we'll talk more about that later. Let's jump into this free agent signings. I'm going to run through them real fast, guys. Walker Kessler is going to sign a 4-year, $130 million with the Lakers. Chris Middleton agrees to the deal with leaving the Mavericks to go to the Wizards via sign and trade for a 3-year, $17 million deal. Kevon Looney is leaving the Pelicans and heading to the Lakers on a 1-year, $4 million deal. Colin Sexton is going to sign, leaving the Bulls and going to the Lakers on a 2-year, $19 million deal. Quentin Grimes is also leaving the 76ers and going to the Lakers for 4 years, $60 million. So I guess the Lakers are making some moves here, guys. When that LeBron money comes off of your books, you are doing what Luka needs. I see shooters coming in and I see big men coming in. He likes the lob threat. He loves that situation, and he likes shooters around him. My only problem right now is I'm not seeing a whole lot of defense. I see rim protection, but we'll see what happens. What else we got? Mitchell Robinson leaves the Knicks and signs with the Celtics on a 3-year, $47 million deal. Nimi Keita re-signs with the Celtics on a 4-year, $56 million deals. We're shoring up our court, guys, some rim protection and versatility. Tari Eason re-signs with the Rockets for 5 years, $81 million deal. Tobias Harris is leaving Detroit and heading to the Spurs on a 2-year, $31 million deal. I like this move. I'm not gonna lie. A actual veteran presence in that locker room. He's gonna give you 1 game per series. You're not getting him for that. You're getting him to calm down the stupidity that De'Aaron Fox was doing last year, and which I still believe the NBA needs to investigate De'Aaron Fox, because I think he was doing gambling deals the way he was playing in that series last year for San Antonio. Kelly Oubre is leaving the 76ers and going out to the Pacers on a 2-year, $17 million deal. Norman Powell, who I said was going to be key for the Heat, he left the Heat and is going to the Bulls on a 2-year, $45 million deal. That's a blow to Miami, because right now I see 3 bigs, but who is orchestrating everything? Who is the scoring threat over there? Pat Riley, you got some work to do, man. You got some work to do. Maybe this year is probably not gonna be a down year for you guys as you guys build this thing out, I'm assuming, but we'll wait to see how this the rest of these rosters starts to form out. John Collins is leaving the Clippers and headed to the Pistons on a 3-year, $51 million deal. Marcus Smart agrees with the Rockets for 2 years, $13 million. Bojan Bogdanovic, he is leaving the Clippers to the Rockets on a 1-year deal, terms not disclosed. Dean Wade leaving the Cavaliers and headed to the 76ers on a 4-year, $39 million deal. I like that move for the Sixers. Dean, if LeBron comes, just know you're coming off of the bench, my boy. But that's good depth behind LeBron if you do go get him. That's good depth behind Jaylen Brown. I think Dean Wade is an assassin at the 3, and he's a great productive player. So yeah, Luke Kennard is going to the Suns on a 2-year, $13 million deal. Keon Ellis, who I was raving about with the Cavs, I like that signing when the Cavs did that trade. He's actually leaving the Cavs and heading to the Nets on a 2-year, $18 million deal. Tim Hardaway Jr. is leaving the Nuggets and heading to the Heat on a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. Okay, I see you, Heat. I did not see this one. That's a good pickup for the Heat. What I've been talking about is like, where's who's orchestrating all this? Who's the shooter in this situation? Okay, Tim Hardaway Jr. I like that pick for the Heat. It's starting to round out a little bit, but you got to go put depth behind that also. You got rid of a whole five, like a whole rotation. Anyways, Robert Williams III re-signs with the Trailblazers on a 3-year, $44 million deal. Javonte Green is re-signing with the Pistons on 1 year, $4 million. Tyus Jones re-signs with the Nuggets on a 1 year deal. Terms not disclosed. Kyle Anderson is heading to the Toronto Raptors on a 1 year, $4 million deal. Yeah. Anthony Simons is going to the 76ers on a 2 year deal, money not listed. That's a big pickup for Philly. I thought Boston would have entertained bringing him back. I think he was very productive for us when he was here on that 1 year, not even a full year. He was on an expiring contract, and we traded him out during the Vucevic trade. I thought Boston was going to try to bring him back into the fold and either have him come in and off the bench, maybe a couple nights a night start alongside Derek White, alleviating some room for Jason Tatum as a scoring option who doesn't demand the ball as much as usage rate, but he's going to Philly. Philly's stacking up, guys. It's hard to say how Philly now. There's a lot happening in Philly. This could be great or it could be disastrous because we've seen other teams before try to put a bunch of players together and it just not work out, you know? Yeah. Marvin Bagley III signing a 1 year deal with the Nuggets. Mo Wagner is leaving the Magic and heading to the Nets on a 2 year, $19 million deal. What else we got? Let's wrap this up. Mike Conley heading from the Timberwolves to the Celtics on a 1 year deal. Nikola Vucevic is heading to the Magic on a 1 year, $3.9 million deal, and we're still waiting on where the hell is LeBron going. We have Rich Paul saying that he could end up on all of 5 different teams. I saw Boston was on that shit. Listen, people be hearing me. It's like, when the whole Jaylen shit happened, we're like grasping at straws at this point, and people started like, oh, maybe they're just making room for LeBron James. You know, he said he's gonna go for vet minimum and blah blah blah. He'll do the guys. Let me tell you something. LeBron hates Boston. I think since his Cleveland days, Boston was the one that was always in his way. Then Miami, it ignited even more. The fans in Boston, y'all was so visceral towards this man. For him to say that he would come here, here's the only thing I would say. If LeBron was to come to Boston, and I'm a LeBron guy, I would love it. It would make me feel good about this Jaylen Brown situation. I still would be mourning a little bit, but I wouldn't be boycotting the Celtics like I plan on doing. Well, my wife plans on doing, so I don't know. Might have to go to Celtics games solo dolo. And now we're talking about going to Philly season opener to go support Jaylen Brown. But you get a LeBron James in Boston. The only way I see that happening, why LeBron would choose a Boston out of all these other teams. Yes, we got Jason Tatum. Yes, we got front court possession. Yet, I think LeBron James, knowing the savant that he is, to say that I went home, I won. I went to Miami, I won. I went to the Los Angeles Lakers, I won, albeit in the bubble. You know, a little asterisk for me there. But he won. If you come to Boston and win a championship, you can say that you won with the 2 most historic franchises. You put a banner in LA and you put a banner in Boston. For those that don't understand real NBA, I already have LeBron as my NBA GOAT, slightly above Jordan, because people like to tear him down because he lost so many times in the finals. I don't take that away from people from making it to the dance and not. I watch this man drag teams that don't belong there. It ain't his fault that by the time they get there, like they run into a fucking powerhouse. Anyways, I digress. That's the only way I see LeBron coming to a Boston. Knowing what he knows, to be able to say that, just write it in. GOAT. GOAT status. To win in LA as a featured player. Not as a role player, not as these other things. A featured player. One in LA and in Boston, man, write him in. Put him. He's already going to Canton, but Jesus Christ, like to say that part, that line, the only man to win with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics championship as a featured player, because I'm pretty sure other players have moved around and probably have gained championships along the way. Rondo, I believe, won with both organizations as of recent years. I'd have to go back in and double check that. But knowing LeBron and how much he is a student of the game, that would be the only factor I would see him bringing into Boston. Yeah, I know he likes him and Jason Tatum have their friendship from USA basketball, but him and Steph have a friendship. And I think Golden State is dropping down on that list right now where LeBron lands. I honestly believe he goes to Philly. I think if you're trying to ride this sunset and this is your last year, even though I think it was going to be his last year, but then I think he might round it out to an even 25 and make next year his last year. So we get 2 years of this little LeBron experience. I think he too is watching the landscape of everything on how everything. I think his gut wants to bring him back home, but he's waiting to see what else the Cavs could do, because as constructed, they're cool, but I think I would like him more. I would like him more in Boston, to be honest. Pair him alongside Jason Tatum, who's going to be looking to have another MVP breakout season. You know he's a playmaker. You know what he could do with your knowledge and power. I think it puts Boston clear-cut favorites outside of New York Knicks to win this whole thing. But we'll see what happens. That's what I got for you guys in NBA news. I do want to touch All-Star Weekend coming up for the WNBA. Quick little midseason recap. The first half of the WNBA season has delivered exactly what we had expected. Some new stars on the rise, new rivalries. Expansion teams were making some noise. They're on a little bit of a decline now, but they started out hot for expansion teams, right? And I think this is a season where you're like, yo, there's a lot of teams that could actually win it all. And I love that parity for the WNBA. You know, this past few years, you kind of already knew, like, my Las Vegas Aces, pencil them in. But last year you started seeing, you know, New York Liberty, the Minnesota Lynx, and then you're seeing the rise of more teams, especially with more of these players coming in across the board, you know. And the TV ratings going up, so everybody is tuning in. I want to thank y'all for doing that, because it's a great game, guys. They play hard, they work hard, and they're gonna be great. They just wrapped up their Commissioner's Cup, where the New York Liberty won the 2026 Commissioner's Cup, defeating my Las Vegas Aces 93-85. It's actually pretty cool. New York went 7-0 during Cup play, making them one of the elites. What Las Vegas was 6-2 in Cup games. So, I mean, right now, where we at is in standings at the midseason break. Midseason break, in the Eastern Conference, you got the New York Liberty tied at the top with the Atlanta Dream and the Indiana Fever at 13-9. Behind them is the Washington Mystics at 10-10. Toronto Temporal 9-12, Chicago Side 7-14, Connecticut Sun 5-17. Man, what a down year for Connecticut Sun, and I think those people are just demoralized knowing that they about to move that whole franchise after this season. Out west, you got the Las Vegas Aces tied at the top with the Minnesota Lynx and the Golden State Valkyries at 16-6. Dallas Wings at 14-8. Los Angeles Sparks 9-11, Portland Fire 9-13, Phoenix Mercury 8-15, and Seattle Storm 6-18. That's a lot of teams that are like true contenders currently right now as we stand at the midway point going into the All-Star weekend in about 14 days now. No, 15 days. 15 starts on the 24th. So about 16 days. Um True contenders, when I'm looking at it, I got the New York Liberty as a true contender. I'm loving their I liked what I saw on their run during the Commissioner's Cup. They got the veteran leadership in Stewie. I think they're built for another finals run. You can't count out the Indiana Fever, and like I said, the Atlanta Dream, when they traded for Andrew Reese, I liked that team. I think the Atlanta Dream is a true threat as a contender to coming out of the East. The Washington Mystics, we'll see what they do. You know, they're just over five. They're at 500. That's one of those teams where you can see them do an upset early in the playoffs and then use that momentum to drive them. Do I see them actually coming out of the East? Not necessarily. I think my top three teams coming out of the East would be the Liberty, Fever, and the Dream, with the Liberty running away with that one. The expansion team, Toronto Temple, they started off hot and they starting to cool down a little bit. But we'll see how maybe they stay hot and they battle out for Washington to see who can get in and try to make one of those little upset runs. Over in the West, my top contenders are going to be the Aces, the Lynx, Valkyries, and the Dallas Wings. More competition, a little bit more competition out West. You already know where I'm sitting at. Give me the Las Vegas Aces to represent the West. But I'm really watching. You know, Minnesota was there last year. Yeah, you can't count them out. And I'm really watching Dallas. I'm watching Dallas. Paige Beckers is a problem, and she is that person with her pedigree coming from out of Connecticut. I believe she could be a difference where she'll make an upset to one of these top teams out west. Fighting for the playoffs, Portland Fire, Sparks. We'll see how they do, and the rest are just simply pretenders. I kind of like right now. If I was picking, I would be going my Aces to be going back into the finals, but I wouldn't be shocked if I saw the Minnesota Lynx. To be honest, I think I want to say the Aces, but what I've seen so far, I think it's going to be Minnesota right back in it again, trying to win it this time. We saw the run that they went on last season, and you know, love me Stewie or whatever, but that was a travel, and that changed the dynamics of a lot of things. Out east, I think Indiana Fever is deep. I think this controversies that keep lying around Caitlin Clark, you're starting to see her team rally around her. I like Aaliyah Boston. I like the Kelsey Mitchell. Don't sleep on that pickup right there. I think you might see Indiana Fever in the finals, to be honest. And that'll be a good finals matchup, Minnesota versus Fever. I'm not mad at that. Let's see who comes out on that one. But I can't count out the Aces. I can't count out the Liberty. I think those two would probably be the ones more likely than not to come out of it. But right now, as I sit, I'm going against the grain. Give me the Minnesota Lynx versus the Indiana Fever. Right now, mid-season pick. That's what I'm going with. I just like the defense of prowess on the Minnesota side, veteran leadership, star power, generational talent over on Indiana side with Caitlin Clark. I love Aaliyah Boston. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of going with right now as we sit there. And that's what I got for you guys on this NBA basketball word time. Let's go ahead and wrap us up. Let's do our legacy moment and final word. I'm going to start here with the Boston Celtics, and it's going to be Boston Celtics driven heavy. The title I said here, Boston, be careful what you wish for, right? You don't want to be the people that overthunk their way. Well, you already did it, so it's done. But I hope this whole analytic shit it'd be easier for me if you came out and told me it's about the money. But even though we traded for Paul George, who's making just only $4 million less than what Jaylen Brown was making, but I get it. 2 years versus 3 years. You're trying to reset your books and all that stuff. You're staying under the threshold for a second year and really go big game hunting with what you have on your books now, right? But analytics made Kenny Atkinson actually believe that they won 3 games last year. We gotta look at what our eyeballs tell us. Fuck this usage rate shit. Fuck this blase blah. They worked. On the court, they worked. I'm not going to sit here and try to say and speculate that they're the best of friends off the court. I don't care. Those are 2 grown-ass men that have 2 different parallel lives. You know what I mean? And they worked on the court. They have a brotherhood on the court. What happens off the court is not my business. I've never been the type to care so much about what other people are doing in their relationships. But what I do know and what I did see over the 10-year span, that has been the most winningest duo since they came together. To the point where the league has been trying to break them out with speculations and rumors. And you played a part in it also. But I always gave you the benefit of the doubt. If you're going to be trying to trade Jaylen Brown 4 years ago, it was for Kevin Durant. I get it. Generational talent. Slim Reaper, the assassin himself. This time you try to trade him for Giannis. But when it got weird to me is when you left him dangling out there to the point where it was like you might have felt like it's too far removed, too far, too gone. But the man told you he still wanted to stay at Boston Celtic. If it's up to Jaylen Brown, he would have stayed at Boston Celtic. And maybe now you go to Jaylen Brown and you have that conversation like, yo, how bad do you really want to stay as Boston Celtics? Because right now I'm looking at this contract extension and I can't give you another $153 million. I might be able to give you $100 million over the next 3 years or 2 years, whatever the extension is going to be for. You know what I mean? But you didn't even give him that conversation that I know of. I'm not there that I know of. You're telling me that Jason Tatum is who you want to build a franchise around. Listen, I don't disagree with it. I love Jason Tatum's game. I love it. People want him to be this whole vocal leader that, listen, people are different, right? Jason Tatum leads by the way his play on the court. I think he's a playmaker. His assist numbers have always been good. He's an amazing rebounder. He plays great defense, playing 1 through 5. So I get why the choice that you made, right? If I take my fan hat off and look at the big lens of things, I don't, even with the trade, when I sit here and I really think about it, I'm like, all right, a Paul George who has been on decline these last few years, he can't stay healthy, but last year, he didn't have to play 25 games, and that's why when he had that playoff run against us, he looked like playoff P again, right? As opposed to podcast P. But at the same time, it's a 29-year-old that you're trading away at the peak of his career that we know work. And the signings that you did worked. It worked. You was going to be competitive. Now, do I see you beating the Knicks? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. But the Mitchell Robinson hurts the Knicks and it helps you. So maybe it kind of changes the balances of things. But I believe in my heart of hearts, Jason Tatum, who's been an MVP candidate for the past 4 to 5 seasons, top 5. Jaylen Brown just had finished 6th in the MVP voting. I get when you watch the tape and all that stuff. I get why you picked Jason Tatum. Hell, Jaylen Brown's my favorite player, but I would have picked Jason Tatum. I just would have figured out a way to keep Jaylen Brown also, but that's me. I'm not paying the money, right? It's easy for me to say it. It's the end of an era. I'm curious and optimistic to see the next few years. Probably not next year. I think the year after is when we're really going to see the effects of this. Because there's not going to be a fool's gold season this year. I don't believe there's going to be that much teams tanking. I think a lot of teams are loaded up and ready to go and make a run for this. Teams that were low last year could be high this year. I think the Eastern Conference is going to be very difficult this upcoming season. But I think Jason Tatum's going to have a breakout season. I do believe he will be an MVP candidate again. He has stated that he wants to win MVP and he wants to win Finals MVP. I think Boston getting rid of Jaylen Brown has put a lot of pressure on Jason Tatum because of the simple fact that people are looking at it like, well, Jaylen Brown led this team to a second seed, and Jaylen Brown got them to the playoffs. But we also got eliminated 3-1 after being up 3-1. So there was flaws in our team at the top of the season. We just started winning more, but the flaws were still there. We just didn't want to see it, right? And then it showed its ugly head in the playoffs. Even with Jason Tatum coming back. And I think that's where I'm giving Brad a little bit of a leeway. As constructed, we was not a championship team. We seen it 2 years in a row, exit since we won the championship, right? Could you have built around it? Yes. But again, Brad is going to bring up the fact of the 70% of your cap is tied up into two players that have the same amount of usage rate. So if Paul George could stay healthy and give us the Paul George that was in that playoff run for about 50, 60 games on a season and then take the run into the playoffs, I like it on a 1 year rental, maybe 2 year, but I think it's a more 1 year rental, and we're going to patch him up and ship him out, go big game hunting next season. He's a catch and shoot guy. He's not going to be the one looking for ball dominance. He can create his own shot when need be, so you kind of have to pay attention to him. I do think he has more of a handle than Jaylen Brown did. He is a good rebounder. He plays good defense, not as high as Jaylen Brown did, in my opinion, but he did give Jaylen Brown fits during the playoffs, right? So Boston is looking at like, okay, we know we can get off this contract after this season and go big game hunting. We still stay under the second apron, so we're not in the repeater tax. We did it for 2 years in a row. Jason Tatum, we know, is an MVP candidate. He's going to get back to the form that he was. We saw it in the 20 games that we did get to see this season before he got hurt with the knee or calf, whatever it is that made him sit down in that game 7 against Philadelphia. So that's what the Celtics are betting on. The Celtics are betting on, well, last year we was able to be successful with Jaylen Brown. Insert Jason Tatum, who they feel is better than Brown. Then they should have a good, consistent season this year. Is it a championship caliber team? No, I don't think so. I think they're a competitive contender. I think they could make it. They could fuck around and fall and trip into the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, we still got to see what Cleveland got to say about that. We still got to see where LeBron lands. Philadelphia is going to have a say in that because Jaylen Brown's going to go nutso this season, right? So we'll see. I talked about after the trade happened, I'm going to go put in my application to be a Philadelphia fan. I ain't going to be that extreme. I'm still a Boston Celtics. I bleed my green still. I just don't like the trade, but Scal and Frank said it best. Frank asked Scal, how long do you think the fans up here are going to hold on to this into the season, or whatever the case may be? And Scal said it best, about a month into the season. But it all depends also. It could be a month into the season. If Jason Tatum is playing at Jason Tatum level and the Celtics are formidable, then they won't think twice about it. But if we're struggling a little bit and Jaylen Brown is being successful in Philadelphia, that's when you start to look at and start siding Brad Stevens. So end of the day, it's the end of an era. But one thing I do want to, before I close out here, the Jaylen Brown smear campaign that's going out based off of these analytic guys, all I can say is shut the fuck up. You fucking Data nerds, shut the fuck up. Because your eyeballs don't see what we see. Athletes and competitors know Jaylen Brown is not the 7th best player on no fucking team. Stop it. What is this, some super team, Team USA or some shit? Like, what are we talking about? You're fucking lying. Cut the shit. And whoever's out there trying to build this whole narrative, y'all been building this narrative on Jaylen Brown for so long, and this weirdo shit that y'all keep saying, he thinks he has a smart disease. What the fuck does that mean? We've been knowing this. He went to Cal, speaks 3 languages. He freaking seminars and teaches at MIT and Harvard and all that shit. We know this. I don't know why we holding that against him. That's like saying LeBron James is such a great businessman. That's why he's the first billionaire athlete. And let's use that against him. What the fuck are we talking about, bro? If you don't like him, you don't like him. And that's fine. He's not for everybody, but he was for us. That's a Boston son right there. For sure. And his legacy is going to go way past this basketball shit. Because he already supplanted his legacy in the NBA. He won a championship. All right? We're one of the most historical franchises. Am I mad that he's not going to get to retire as a Celtic? Yeah, I'm mad. I'm pissed the fuck off. What this man has done for the city of Boston, and I'm not even going to hold you. I love me some Jason Tatum, but he don't pour money and he don't put time into the city of Boston like that. Outside of Celtic functions, Jason Tatum is not doing that. He pours all his money back into St. Louis, which is fine. That's his prerogative. But Jaylen Brown was putting on for the city of Boston. A kid from Atlanta. He could have poured all his money into Atlanta. And nobody would even bat the eye. We don't bat the eye at Jason Tatum. As long as you're doing what you got to do on the court, we don't care. But what I do know is Jaylen Brown's legacy is supplanted in the city of Boston. That's a high character man that y'all trying to tear down for whatever fucking reason. Because he doesn't play by your rules. You want to tear him down? Cool. Guess what? Boston loves him. We're always going to love him. Even with another fucking jersey, we're still going to love him. He ain't for y'all, and we don't care. We energy shifters out here, and we're mad that the shift is going to happen to Philadelphia. It's okay. It's cool. We're going to wish him nothing but the best. Dare I say, even when he plays against Boston, just once or twice, because I want you to stick it to them for trading you, but that's it. That's all I'm going to give you. For damn sure I ain't going to root for you in the playoff series. I'm sorry, Jaylen. I'm still a Boston Celtic. You know what I mean? But your legacy was supplanted a long time ago, Jaylen Brown. Like, it's way beyond basketball, and for some reason, they don't like our athletes to go beyond the sports that they play. It's even worse than shut up and dribble that they try to put on LeBron James all those years ago. Keep being the smart disease that you have. Keep doing it, and can I get some too, please? I want people to talk about me like that. Like it's a wrong thing to be smart. Like, what are we talking about, bro? That's crazy to me. It's crazy. Just know, on the court, that man's legacy supplanted. All-star, multiple-time All-Star, won an NBA championship, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP. And then off the court, you poured in your time, your money, your efforts. Boy, listen, you forever a Bostonian in my books. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care if you trade 17 teams before your career's over. Just know you're always a Celtic. And they should put a damn statue of you right next to Bill Russell, goddammit. That's all I got for you guys on Legacy Moment, Final Word. And y'all being some weirdos too about this whole Jason didn't speak up early enough. And I was feeding into the bullshit also, because I kept looking. I was like, damn, Jason ain't saying nothing yet. But show me the obligation where somebody has to say something. And then when he did say something, it wasn't enough. That's y'all, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I mean? So y'all keep being weird over there. We'll stay in our tiny little town over here in Boston and just, rebuild our team and win championships. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, Jaylen Brown's legacy is supplanted. Point blank, period. If you liked anything that I said and you feel as though I went wrong anywhere along the thing, go ahead and call me out on it. I don't really care. I said what I said and I meant to, and go debate yourself in the corner for all I care. But Please still subscribe to Please Excuse My Balls, like the episode, follow us on social media, and tell me where I went wrong. Till then, debate yourself. I said what I said. I meant it. It's your boy, Kevin B. The Brand. See you next week, hopefully. Peace. Dear Legacy. Please excuse my